This is the best defense for keeping your opponent out of the end zone. If your opponent is down on the 1 or 2 yard line, there's an extremely high chance that they will switch to the goal line offensive formation. And so right now, I'm going to show you guys the best goal line defense that will guarantee you always keep your opponent out of the end zone. And so to start, let's talk about what formation we need to call. And let's go to the play call screen and look at our different options for goal line defense. What most people will do if they see their opponent coming out in goal line is they will scroll down to goal line and just call a play in goal line 6-2. And I'm here to tell you guys that is the wrong formation. You need to tab over to goal line 5-3. Goal line 5-3 is going to give you a nose tackle, and that nose tackle makes all the difference for stopping QB sneak, which is people's favorite play to run out of the goal line offensive formation. So we're going to call MLB gap A in goal line 5-3, and we have the offense here in QB sneak. Now our adjustments before the snap are going to be to pinch our D-line, which is left on the D-pad, down on the left stick. We're going to slant our D-line inside, which is left on the D-pad, down on the right stick, and then we're going to hover with our user about a yard or two over the nose tackle. When you have this setup right here, if your opponent runs QB sneak, it doesn't even matter if your user runs in, they are going to have nowhere to go. You'll have one or multiple D linemen or linebackers or whoever you have in there coming in and hitting the quarterback before he can go anywhere. And this is repeatable. You can see over and over again that this quarterback is gaining 0 yards. He might even be losing yards. And so now we have QB sneak completely bagged. But you may be saying, well, that's just one play. People can obviously run other things out of the goal line offensive formation as well. And so let's look at the other things that people will try to run. So maybe they try to run a little bit more outside with a power O. And in that case, we actually will need to make use of our user. And this is why we keep our user back here, is to keep our user free to flow left or right if our opponent runs something other than a QB sneak or a halfback dive. And so if our opponent snaps the ball for power O, we just come out here with our user and we try to plug any running lane. I prefer to go outside and force my opponent to run back inside because, as you can see, we have help to the inside. We don't always have help to the outside. And so I went outside, forced my opponent back inside, and you see that if you force him back inside, you will always have help. And once again, we kept him out of the end zone. Let's look at some other runs. Of course, there's halfback dive. Hopefully everyone can tell that halfback dive has no chance against this. If your opponent snaps the ball for halfback dive, in this case, we even have a D tackle come in completely untouched, and the quarterback can't even get the handoff. And so far, so good. Now, the final thing that we should look at, there's halfback sting. Sorry, halfback sting. This is actually a pretty good goal line run, and it's going to go in the other direction. And this one, we definitely need our user to be ready for as well. And so when your opponent snaps the ball for halfback sting, we need to come around over here. And fortunately, again, as you can see, this is kind of the advantage of having pinching and slanting inside on the D line. On a lot of these handoffs, there's going to come through and tackle the quarterback before he can even make the handoff. You can see that if the handoff happened, I was once again with my user, I was going around the edge to get some outside leverage and force our opponent to run back inside. But ultimately, it didn't even matter. We're tackling the quarterback before he can even hand the ball off. Now, the final thing, everyone's favorite thing to say is, well, what about strong toss? And so let's look at toss. This is, of course, going to be the toughest thing to defend because we are pinching and slanting inside. But once again, we have our user free right here. And if we see a toss to the outside, we're going to run outside. And same as before on power O, we're going to try and force our opponent back inside. And so if it is strong toss, we just sprint outside. We try to get around the edge. You can see that the opponent decided to try and cut it back inside because we had outside leverage. Now, if they had kept running outside, would they have gotten into the end zone? Possibly. Possibly they would have because they did have a lead blocker. And you know what? If your opponent scores on strong toss, it kind of just is what it is. At the end of the day, they are on the 1 yard line, and so they will maybe get in occasionally, but this is still going to be by far the best defense for keeping them out of the end zone as much as possible. And you see once again right there, a strong toss. As long as your user is ready for it, you can get on the outside and you can have a decent chance of making a play on the ball. So right there, we're able to actually cut inside of the lead blocker and make a tackle and keep our opponent out of the end zone. And so, like I said, if your opponent's on the 1 yard line or the 2 yard line and they're in goal line, this is going to be the best chance you possibly have of shutting down every single type of run play that your opponent wants to run. And if you can clamp down on the goal line and keep your opponent out of the end zone, then you are going to win way more games.